Bowen Marsh is one of the most important characters in dance. He's arguably the most important character in John's story, and he's the most overlooked character by the readers. We assume we know three things about Marsh's backstory. He's from House Marsh, he's a northerner, and he might be a crannogman from the neck. We know these facts about him because his name is Marsh. But except for his name, everything about him in the books doesn't fit with him being a northerner. And there are other Marsh people outside of the north. We can safely say that Marsh is not a crannogman, because all crannogmen have a specific look to them. They look different from other people, north and south of the neck, so much so that there are stories about them being descendant from the children of the forest. We see Mira and Jojen, and we hear about Helen Reed. They are slim and short. The crannogmen are not traditional fighters. They are short, so they can't win in a sword fight against normal-sized people. So they made their own fighting style. The most notable thing about Bowen Marsh's look is his face turns so red that it resembles a pomegranate when he's mad. And he's never been described as slim or small or fast. He gets a scar on his face because he was fighting with a normal sword. And we never hear about him using nets or other things that the crannogmen usually use. We can safely assume that Bowen Marsh is not a northerner, because all the people in the north worship the old gods, except House Manderley, and not all the people in White Harbor worship the Seven. Yet Bowen Marsh is a worshipper of the Seven. So, if Bowen Marsh is a northerner, then the whole north worships the old gods, except for that one house that moved a while back, and that one random guy. Bowen Marsh is not from House Marsh of the North. He's from the marshes of the Riverlands, specifically the lands close to Maidenpool. In A Feast for Crows, Braina meets three women, and she said they are just marsh women, which implies that the people from that area are known as marsh people. And it will explain why, even though every highborn lord from all the Seven Kingdoms are obsessed with shoving their family words in everyone's faces, Bowen Marsh never uses a family word or talk about house sigils. Throughout A Storm of Swords and A Dance with Dragons, we see Bowen Marsh taking center stage in Jon's story, with all of his actions make a lot of sense if he was from the Riverlands. And he shows a lot of ignorance about northern politics, to the level that Sir Axel Florent, a man who thinks that if he would Val, then he would have a chance to be the Lord of Winterfell, because he's a descendant from House Gardener, have more understanding of northern politics than Bowen Marsh, a supposed northerner. Let's go through some of Bowen Marsh's actions and see if it fit more with a northerner or a Riverlander. Bowen Marsh wanted Janos Slynt to become the new Lord Commander, even though he had a hand in the murder of Ned Stark, openly speaks about Ned Stark being a traitor, wants to kill Jon Snow, and keep bragging about his relationship with the Lannisters and Joffrey. It is impossible to see how Janos Slynt becoming the new Lord Commander won't anger the Northern Lords. And even if the North don't attack the Wall for choosing a man who speaks openly about being friends with the Lannisters, the North will never help the Watch if Janos Slynt become a Lord Commander. Bowen Marsh is really scared of angering the Lannisters. He supported Jon Slynt because Tywin sent a message saying that Slynt is his friend. Marsh was shocked about the execution of Jon Slynt, even though he refused to obey his commands, and he insulted the Lord Commander in front of everyone. And we also get the reaction of everyone else on the wall, and no other character except Marsh cared. Bowen Marsh keep arguing with Jon and goes so far to call Jon's actions about the wildlings treasonous. Jon have the same conversation with the leaders of the mountain clans, the people who were dealing with the wildlings for thousands of years. Yet unlike Bowen Marsh, they were okay with John's plans after he reminded them he's Ned's son. This conversation between John, Marsh, and the leaders of the mountain clans removed the argument that Marsh hates the wildlings because he's a northerner. It also removed the question of what will the northern lords think or do when they learn about John's actions. Because we see northern lords right here, and they are okay with it. The northerners want to kill Boltons and Frey more than wildlings. Bowen Marsh tries to kill John after the pink letter. When Bowen Marsh stabbed John, he said it's for the watch. However, if he's a northerner or have any understanding of northern politics, then he will understand that killing John will get everyone in the Night's Watch killed. Even if he actually managed to get the Black Brothers together and kill the wildlings and the Queen's men, it doesn't matter. After the Battle of the Wall, he will have to face the Northern Lords and explain to them why these southern criminals just killed their Lord Commander, Ned Stark's only living son. In Dance, Jon thinks about that time when the commander of the Shadow Tower and the commander of Eastwatch by the Sea joined together to kill the Lord Commander, so the Starks came north and killed them. In Dance, we see the Northern Lords turned into two camps about Jon. The Karstark mountain clans and their side that consider Jon as Ned's son, and they don't care about his vows to the Night's Watch. And the Bolton camp that wants to avoid Jon. Even though the wall can't be protected from the south and Stannis won't be expecting an attack there, the Boltons waited for Stannis to leave the wall before they can attack him. And even if the pink letter was written by Ramsay, Marsh and the Night's Watch will still be considered as the Ten Clocks who killed their Lord Commander. On the other side, if we consider that Bowen Marsh is a Riverlander, then everything about him would make more sense in the story, and his actions would be more understandable. He worshipped the Seven because most of the South worshipped the Seven. He feared angering the Lannisters because he fought for the Targaryen side and lost. This would be the reason he's on the wall. Also, their land would be close enough to King's Landing, so he would have a good reason to fear Tywin Lannister. Bowen Marsh supported Slynt, even though he called Ned Stark a traitor, and wants to kill Jon, because he's a Southerner and the Starks mean nothing in the South. Bowen Marsh thinks he can survive killing Jon Snow, because he would have done a good thing for the Lannisters. And just like Jon Slynt, he thinks the Northerners will never kill a friend of House Lannister. As a Southerner, Bowen Marsh would think that all the Black brothers mostly get treated the same, so he would think that it would be okay to kill Jon if he tried to desert the wall. And he wouldn't have the understanding that these laws work for everyone except the Starks. After all, in Book 1, Jon already tried to desert the Night's Watch, and according to the Old Bear, a lot of brothers saw him leave. They even sent men to bring him back if he gets far enough. Yet nothing happened to him. His only punishment is to do his duties even though he didn't sleep.